The SBI PO preparation strategy that you will follow for the next 40 days are going to be very critical. So I have outlined all the important things, and also for people who are attempting multiple examinations, this is going to be very beneficial. So let's begin. Hi, this is Shupriyo. So we have about 43 days left for our SBI PO prelims examination. So for our SBI PO 2020 preparation strategy, what should be our goals and our key focus areas so that we can get success in this examination in the time that is left to us. So for the first thing, we have to first decide whether we are going to do the prelims preparation or the mains preparation. Now people are very divided about this type of thing, but I can tell you that only focusing on one thing for this entire period of time, it will not work. So this is a common misconception. People feel first let's clear the prelims examination and then we'll focus on mains, but that is not a strategy that will work. So your prelims and your mains preparation, you have to somehow handle in tandem. So I will be explaining how you can actually do that, how you can prepare for both of these things in tandem. But just remember that our key focus is that by the time that prelims examination rolls in, we should be fully prepared with our SBI PO prelims strategy prelims section, and the mains preparation we will be doing that, and we will be preparing as much as possible so that in the time that is left after the prelims examination, we can just refocus on the mains and we can get success. Now another important thing is that there is very less time left, right? And we have a lot to cover. So in this 40-day strategy, I will be giving you all the tips that you can use, but also remember that you have to be a little bit optimistic so that you can cover all of these things. Many people, they are very dejected. So there are lots of things to cover, right? So let us first think about what we should not do, because there is a lot to do. So let's first think what are the things that are the biggest mistakes that people are making. Now the first mistake that I feel people are doing is that they are already preparing for the GD and PI or the G or PI, whatever you say. So the group discussion and the personal interview, they are in the phase 3. So they are quite far away, and you will always have enough time to prepare these things. So in my personal preparation, I had never even touched the GD or PI in my preparation till the mains exam was over. After the mains exam is over, you should not spend time to just think about the results, but you should focus on GDPI. And also just remember something that was actually written in the notification this year. So here they have actually written that because of COVID restrictions, it might be possible that they will do either only interview or they might do interview plus GD. So either a 50 marks of interview or 30 marks interview and GD of 20 marks. So till now, we do not know which route SBI is going to go towards. So right now, wasting your time and preparing for the GD or for the interview is something I do not advise at all. So remember that. And this is the biggest mistake that I feel that people are doing at this point of time. And the second thing that you can remember is that you are always advised in every mock test to check your correct questions as well, and also the incorrect ones. So if you got a question correct, you are advised to check it. But I will say that since you have very less time remaining, you can ignore all the correct answers that you have actually attempted in your mock tests. So if you got something correct, then there is no point to go ahead and see the solution and again see if there is something very much more efficient by which you could have done that. But there is one exception to this. So if you are taking a way long time for one problem, then it makes sense to see the simpler solution. But otherwise, don't waste your time. So only focus on the things that you have done wrong. Now that is going to save a lot of your time. And the third thing that you can use so that you can have much more efficiency is that you can submit first and solve later. So what do I mean by submit first and solve later? So this thing basically means that and this is not something that you are going to do on day one, but only when you don't have enough time left. What you can do, you can just submit your mock test and then you are solving each and every problem. Now this will be saving a lot of your time, but remember something, that this is not an alternative for giving mock test, because in a mock test you are simulating the environment by which you are giving this examination. So it is not an alternative, but if you have less time, then you can submit your mock test and then you can check your answers, and that will be something that you can quickly do. So this will also save a lot of your time. And the fourth thing that you need to remember, and this is the most advanced thing, is that you can ignore some questions. So if you know that you are very good in ratios or say percentages, then there's no point in again looking at those types of questions, right? So you can ignore few questions just by reading it. You have read that question, and this of course is also tied into the third point that we said, that you can submit it first. So if you see a question that you already know or you are sure that you can solve it, so you can just ignore it because you know that you can already do it, right? So there's no point in wasting your time and your energy by just solving the same thing again. So this is of course the most advanced type of a strategy, and not everybody will be able to handle it. It's only advisable to do when you are reasonably well practiced and it's towards the end of your preparation. Only then you can do it. So these four things that I just told you, they will actually help you to cover things in a less time, and you can cover a lot of things in this kind of a way. And now the next thing is that what should a beginner do? Now I have received a lot of questions from beginners, and they are saying that they want to attempt this examination but they don't have any background. Now my advice to you is, of course it's going to be very difficult. If somebody says that you can crack SBI PO so easily, then they are mistaken. But having said that, I don't want you to be dejected. So the one biggest problem that I have seen among beginners is that they get very disappointed when they get low marks in their mock test. So I want you to remember that the mock test, it is not the real exam. It is only there for you to understand where you stand. So do not be very disappointed if you are a beginner and you are getting some low marks in some mock tests. And the other thing that you can remember is that you have to behave like a veteran. So a veteran, what is a veteran actually doing at this point of time? They are focused on mock tests. They are only looking at the errors that they are doing. They are not thinking about what is going to happen tomorrow, how I am going to prepare for this examination, what kind of things can be asked. They are not wasting time. So you have to develop a veteran mindset by which you are jumping into the mock test. You are trying to find out where I am lacking. Then you just revise your concepts from either books or from YouTube. So these are the kinds of things that you have to do. And as we talk about the strategy that we are going to follow for these last 40 days, I am sure that you can pick up a few things and you can just use it even if you are a complete beginner. So that's something that you have to remember. And now what is the daily focus going to be? On which areas are you going to focus extremely well in this examination? Now to understand this, you have to remember that there are two primary areas in the SBI PO exam which are very important. They are English and also the general awareness and a little bit of the banking awareness, though the weightage is a little bit lesser. So English and GA, they are the most important things in our SBI PO examination. And regarding the coverage of the general awareness, so what's the time frame for which you need to cover? So you have to cover GA from 1st July 2020 till 22nd January of 2021. So this is the time frame for which you need to cover each and every general awareness item. So remember that. And very important for you is to cover the months from October. So October, November, December and the first 22 days of January. These are going to be very vital for you to cover. Also remember that while you are covering these things as well, you have to also read a little bit of the budget 2020, because the next year's budget will not be out by the time the examination will be happening. So you have to read the budget as well, some important numbers, some important figures. That's all. You don't have to read in depth because there is a probability that some questions can be framed for it. So that is how you are going to cover your general awareness preparation. And for your English preparation, of course you are going to read a lot of reading comprehensions, you are going to do sentence corrections, you are going to do closer tests and everything that is useful for our mains and also for the prelims. But you also have to remember about the descriptive paper. Many people, they forget about the descriptive paper. So make sure that each and every week you are practicing 2 letter writings and 2 essays. This is the minimum that you have to do. So every week ensure that you have written 2 letters and 2 essays. So these things are going to be very vital. So do not neglect general awareness and English. They will be the cornerstones for your preparation. And just let's take a look at the format of the examination. So for our prelims examination, what do we have? We have the marks distribution will be total marks of 100. Now that's very important. So you have 30, 35 and 35 for English, quant and reasoning. So English, as you see, it's going to play a vital role because the quant and reasoning, they are of course prone to fluctuations. The different types of questions can be asked, but English usually it is of the same variant. So you can predict a lot about the English paper, and each and every paper they are going to be locked for 20 minutes, so a total of 1 hour. And remember, there is no sectional timing, so that will be in your favor if you can be very good in English and you have to pick any other subject where you are good. So either quant or reasoning, try and increase your level in either of these papers so that you can get a lot of marks, and this will be something that you can do. And remember that the prelims, as I always say, it's like a 100-meter race, so you have to quickly answer all the questions. You have to be very quick-witted. It's not about choosing the questions but about how fast you can actually do it. And coming to the mains, let's just see a little bit about the mains. So here what you have here, also you can see English carries 40 marks and the general awareness, it carries another 40 marks. So out of 200, 80 marks you are just dedicated towards the GA and English. So as I am telling you, these two things are very, very important. And in the mains paper, the reasoning and the quant, both are going to be very, very hard. That much I can assure you. So this is something that goes without saying even, and you have to be very well prepared to actually raise your scores. And remember, again, you do not have any sectional cutoffs, so those things are going to be in your favor. And of course it's also going to be locked. So reasoning is locked for 60 minutes, quant is locked for 45, then you have GA for 35, the English for 40, and also you will be having a descriptive test, as I told you, the letter writing and essay. So it will be for 50 marks and the test is going to be for 30 minutes. So just think about it, 80 marks over here and 50 marks over here. So a total of 130 marks are devoted to only English and general awareness. So that doesn't mean that you are going to neglect the other sections, but you have to be very smart in how you are tackling these sections. So always remember that, and no sectional cutoff that actually changes the game. You can spend a lot of time to actually just improve your section, one of the sections, so that you can overall improve your marks without any kind of problems in getting selected in the final merit list. So these kinds of things you have to think about, and I have already made multiple videos where I have explained how you can just use this kind of a thing and play it to your advantage. Now coming to the next thing, so if you are preparing for multiple examinations, now that is also a big problem that many people are facing. So let's take a look at our exam schedule so that we have a better idea. So for our exam schedule, the SBI PO prelims, it's going to be on 31st December, 2nd, 4th and 5th January. So that's how we are going to have the prelims, and the mains, it's going to be on 29 January 2021. So that is our schedule. Now remember that we have the RBI assistant mains. So if you are giving it for 22 November, you don't have to spend a little bit of time on SBI right now. Just focus your entire energy on RBI assistant mains, and once that exam is over, you can just refocus. Now coming to the next thing, so 30th January 2021, you have the RRB PO mains. Now this will be very, very good for you because you will be already prepared with the 29th January SBI PO mains, and so this will be just in your flow. So you can just be in a flow and you can attempt this paper without any kind of problem. And remember that when you are preparing for SBI PO prelims, then all the other prelims are also getting prepared, because SBI PO, the level is much higher than the other exams. So the prelims preparation, it's going to go very well. Even if you are just attempting the mock test for SBI PO, then IBPS PO, IBPS RRB, all these things will be automatically covered. Now coming to the next exams, so 20th February, 4th February and 28th February, you have these three, the RRB OA mains, the IBPS PO mains and the IBPS clerk mains. So it's not a problem at all. They are quite far apart, and we don't have to worry about preparing multiple exams for that point of time. But here is the main problem over here. So 5th, 12th and 13th December, you have the IBPS Clerk Prelims. Now, for this examination, what I suggest is that whatever date you have for the examination, 5 days prior to that, just stop the preparation of the other kinds of exams. So, if you have on 5th December your IBPS Clerk Prelims examination, then by November 30th, you have to stop your other exam preparation and focus fully on the IBPS Clerk exam. So that is how you are going to do it. And of course, since you are already preparing for SBI PO Prelims, IBPS Clerk Prelims, it's not going to be that much difficult. But for the other exams that are scheduled, the supplementary exams of RRB PO, the RRB OA and the IBPS PO Prelims, all these prelims examinations, they are actually clashing. So what you have to do, this I don't know who has actually created the schedule for these examinations. They should have seen that supplementary examinations are clashing, but they have not seen. So what you can do, you can go to the CGRS website and raise a complaint stating that the exams are clashing and you need a different date. So they can just shift your dates around so that your SBI PO prelims are not going to be clashing over there. And I hope that it will be fixed very soon. So that is how you have to prepare if you are preparing for multiple exams. And coming to the books and the mock test. So for the books, I would say that there's not enough time, but I have listed out some books in this video description. You can go check it out. So if you want, you can just keep them as reference. Don't read books at this point of time. Just prepare from the mock test and from YouTube or from any apps that you have, but keep the books as a reference. And coming to the mock test, so many people, they waste a lot of time to think which is the correct mock test. I can tell you almost all the mock tests are almost similar, and so you don't have to worry about which is the best one that you have to pick. So I have listed out one mock test provider in the description of this video. You can go check it out. If you don't have that, there's no problem. You can choose whichever one you have, but just remember that you have to have two providers. So two mock test providers, you have to choose two companies so that you have some variety of questions and you can attempt different types of questions, because SBI PO is all about surprises and they can change up questions very much. So always ensure that you have two, and mock tests are going to be a very vital pillar in your preparation. So ensure that you are doing it from two providers. And now coming to the preparation. So for the first week, 18th November to 25th November, what should be your preparation strategy? So till 22nd November, you are only going to be focused on mock tests. So do as many mock tests as possible. Prelims ones I will prefer much more, and if you can do maybe one or two mains mocks, then you can do, but mostly you are going to focus on prelims mock tests. So do as many as possible, and 3 of these have to be cold mock tests. So cold mock tests are those which you give without any kind of preparation. So you are just understanding your baseline metrics. So what is your natural strength and what is your natural weakness? That is how you are going to actually understand yourself, and then you can apply your learnings into the next type of mock test that you give. So do at least 3 cold mocks, and then you can review a little and you can do more. Until 22nd November, you have to do as many as possible. So from 23rd to 25th November, what you are going to do, you are going to review all these mock tests that you have given. So 3 days you have to dedicate towards your reviews. So just review each and every single thing. You can do the 3T review that I always say. So what you are going to do, the first thing is the type of the question. So what kind of a question is it? You have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses in that type of question. The second thing is the time that you take to solve each and every question. So try and see which type of questions are taking you much more time. You have to understand this, and you have to avoid doing those questions at the beginning in your examination hall. So it's very important to understand. And the third thing is the tricks. So you have to understand how you can easily solve each and every question, and for that you have to identify each trick that is very customizable to each and every problem. And so these are the 3 types of things that you have to note, and in your 3T review that I have spoken about multiple times, you can do it. And of course the daily general awareness preparation is going to continue, and your English preparation as well that I told you. Both of these things you have to continue, and also you have to do the EOD review. So this means end of day review. So each day when the day ends, you are reviewing what you have learned on that day and what are the mistakes that you made. So create an error log. This is very important to make, and in the error log you're not going to write down questions, you are going to write down your observations. So if you are actually struggling in a particular type of question, so for example you are struggling with DIs, so you have to write down what are your struggles. So are you unable to interpret the graph, or are you spending too much time to actually solve these questions? Are you actually not understanding the exact thing that is asked from you in that kind of a DI? So all these kinds of things you have to write down for all the sections, the quant, the reasoning, the English. So all the different sections you have to maintain an error log. That's going to help you later on very much when you are finally revising everything. And also the end of week review, you have to at the end of every week understand where you have gone wrong, where you have gone right. So you have to actually do the review, and for example you have to see whether 2 essays and 2 letters you have written, how much of the general awareness you have actually managed to cover, then the quant and the reasoning and the English, where you are at your preparation strategy. So end of the week, just sit down with yourself and write down in a notebook what is actually happening, how much your scores are fluctuating, all these kinds of things, and review your performance. Review is very, very important because that helps you understand where you are missing. And of course the essential topics for this week what you have to cover. So let's take a look. So these are the essential topics for quant. All the formulas needed, just memorize them and just see if you are missing anything. Then the ratios, the simplification and the approximation. So not a lot of things you have to do, just these types of things. And if you have time, then the percentages also just see a little bit, and all these kinds of concepts you have to clear in week number 1. Then you have for reasoning the syllogisms, the ranking and the direction problems, and the alphabet tests. So these types of things you have to clear the concepts very well in the first week. And then for the English you have to do the fill in the blanks and the closure test. So these 2 topics you are going to cover in your week number 1. So that's all about your first week. Then coming to the week number 2 and 3, so from 26th November to 10th December. So what is your major focus during this phase? This focus will be totally on your mains preparation. So these 2 weeks just devote it towards your mains preparation, and you have to use a day wise strategy for quant and reasoning. Now what did I tell you? General awareness and English you have to prepare each and every day, right? But the quant and reasoning you cannot do each and every day because it will be too hectic and you won't be able to manage. So just divide your days. So you can say that on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday I am going to do the quant, and Thursday, Friday and Saturday I am going to do the reasoning. And of course the GA and the English will be continuing with that, but you have to actually allocate each day to a particular subject, and that will actually help you a lot. You will see the difference when your mind is focused on that entire thing. And of course you are going to give the mock test, and that is completely different. The mock test is on one side, but for your practice sessions you can follow this, and it will actually allow you to be more efficient. And of course the efficient general awareness every day. And just remember, you have to read the old general awareness as well as you are reading the new ones. So just have some kind of a system by which in the morning you are reading the new ones, then during the day you can cover the old ones as well, and just recollect it, revise it as much as possible. Revision is key for general awareness, and try and do as many MCQs as possible for your general awareness, because that will be the most important thing for memorizing all the important data. And the ample reading also is something that you have to follow during this time. So how are you going to do the reading? Because your time is totally spent in doing the other things, right? So you have to read during your down times. So in the afternoons, maybe after lunch, you don't want to study at that point of time, then you can just lie down, you can read some blogs, you can read some newspapers on your phone, or you can even listen to some English content. That is also something that's nice. So listen to any kind of English content at that point of time, then your speech patterns will also be improving and you can learn many things. So you can listen to the English news channels, that will be very essential in this point of time. And this is how you can do your reading. So you can read some online papers and all the things in that downtime. So don't waste any precious moments to do this reading, just do it in your down times. And so that's about the reading. And you have to do the in-depth banking awareness during these 2 weeks as well. So I have created an entire playlist on banking awareness, so you can check it out. Everything has been covered in that, so you will be helped a lot in your preparation phase by that playlist, and I'm sure that it's going to be helpful to you. So you have to then clear your 3T problem areas. So as I told you, you have to find out the tricks, you have to just reduce the time that you are taking for each of the problems, and you have to identify each type of problem and whether you are increasing your efficiency in each type of problem. And in this phase also, something very important to do is choosing and rejecting the problems. So just by reading the problem, you have to choose whether I will be attempting it or I will be rejecting it. Now this is a very, very important skill. Maybe later on I will be making some more videos to understand this, but you have to practice it in your mock tests. You have to just read the question, and even in your study sessions you can read the question and you have to immediately jump to the conclusion whether I can actually solve this or I have to leave it in the examination hall. And of course the essential topics that you have to ace during this point of time. So for the quant, you are doing exclusive DI because this is all about your mains preparation, then the permutation, combination and probability, then the mensuration and the compound problems. So these problems, they just merge different types of subjects. So you have some quantity 1, quantity 2 types of problems, right? And then you will be seeing that you have some data sufficiency types of problems. So these are all compound problems. Some simple concepts will be actually merged together. So you have ratios and percentages maybe together. You will be having different subjects together. So those compound problems you have to try. And for the reasoning, the long-winded verbal reasoning, the logical reasoning and the critical reasoning. These 3 things are very important for your mains preparation. So ensure that you have done that. And the complex puzzles and the complex seating arrangements. So these are also some things that you have to cover during this phase. And the English, you have to cover the complex reading comprehensions. So for the reading comprehensions, one tip that I can give you is that you have to read the questions first. So that is a no-brainer. This is something that is done by almost everybody. The second thing that you can do is that each paragraph, the first line of each paragraph, you just read at the first. So if you have 3 paragraphs, you read the first line of each paragraph and your brain will be able to connect the information much better. So you can use this tactic and it will definitely improve your ability in the reading comprehensions. And also the word associations you are going to do, the paragraph completions, the multiple meanings and also a little bit of para jumbles if you get time. So apart from your mock tests, these are the concepts that you have to focus on during this point of time. So let us move to the next thing. So the week 4 and the week 5. Now we are nearing towards the end of our preparation phase. So here you have to focus entirely on your prelims paper because your prelims is at that point of time very, very near, and so you have to focus on the harder mocks. And always, let me repeat this, never get disappointed by your marks in your mock tests. They are just to enable you to understand where you are going wrong. Do not judge yourself by marks because they are not an indicator of your main examination. So don't worry about that at all. And of course, the efficient general awareness and the banking awareness you have to be continuing to do till 24th. So till 24th December you have to do it, and in the final week you don't need to do anything more because your mind you have to keep free and you have to be totally focused on your prelims preparation. And in the final week, so you have to focus solely on your prelims and you have to do something which is called a mock test autopilot. So this means that whenever you are starting a mock test, you are very, very conversant with the questions and immediately you know which one you should be doing first, which one you should be doing at the last. So once you do many mock tests, you will find that you are going into a flow, that you know which questions to attack at what point of time, and even the clock is in your mind at all points of time. So once you have attained that state, it is a flow state. So you are just going into a mock test and you are giving your best each and every single time. That is called the mock test autopilot, and that is something that you have to achieve by the final week of your preparation. And the final 3 days, so in the final 3 days, I do not recommend doing any mock tests. Maybe one you can do, but what I recommend is that on each day you have to solve some questions of quant, some questions of reasoning and some questions of English. Even sometimes I have seen that on the day of the exam, so on the day of exam in the morning, what I would do is sometimes I would solve maybe 2 or 3 questions of quant, 2 or 3 questions of reasoning and maybe 1 or 2 questions of English. So that really gets my mind going. So I can actually understand that I am going to give an examination on that day and my mind stays active. So you can do that. keep your mind active. I don't want you to stress about mock tests at the end of your preparation phase, but always keep your mind active so that when you sit for that examination, you are very attentive and you can attack the questions in the best possible manner. And so the final thing that you have to remember is that you have to be ready for surprises, because each and every year SBI will be giving some surprise or the other. So this year also invariably there will be surprises and there will be some problems that people will have to face, and people who are expecting surprises are going to ace this examination. Finally, the final message that I have to give you is self-belief. So ultimately, after doing all of these things, after seeing all these strategies, the last thing that I want to say is that you have to have the self-belief. You have to believe that you were destined to be an SBI PO, and you have to actually dream about it. So just remember that everybody has the same time, everybody has the same amount of resources, and it is the people who will be using them in the most efficient manner, they are going to be succeeding. In your prelims examination, after it is ended, 10x of your vacancies are going to go through, and finally 3x of the vacancies are going to go through after the mains. So at the end of it all, you have to be just within 6,000 people that are going to appear for the GD and PI. So 6,000 people, of course you can be top 6,000. Don't you believe you can do it? I believe you can, and so must you. So I hope that you learned something from this video and that it was beneficial to you. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please click on the subscribe button and do not forget to click the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.